Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arif Danial bin Muhammad YUSSARDI from the EC6A and my ID is IDI 1905041. So today I will be talking about Richard Ramirez and relate about his life with social deviance of 7 process that grease off the slippery slope of evil by Philip Zimbardo. Before that, I will talking about his biography first. So Richard Ramirez, or his full name, Ricardo Leyva Munoz Ramirez, was born in El Paso, Texas, located at United States of America, and the youngest children from 5 of Julian and Mercedes Ramirez. He is one of the famous American serial killer, rapist, pedophile, burglar, who murdered at least 13 people in California area between 1984 until 1985. He was convicted and sentenced to death by gas chamber but died because of blood cancer while waiting for his death day. I think that his life story is very suitable to relate with social process. So without wasting any time, let's proceed to our first process. For your guys' information, I will be talking about 5 process. For the first process, I would like to talk is mindlessly taking the first small step. So since Ricardo Ramirez was small, his father, who is a retired army veteran, rarely be at home and have a short temper, and Ramirez was said to be the victim of the violence. His brother always caught up in a trouble such as breaking into people's house, and this shows that Ramirez is living in a negative circle since small. Since he was kid, he spent most of his time with his guardians, and this shows that he do not get enough attention from his family. Besides that, there is a few factors that turn an innocent child to be one of the serial killer in America. So during his childhood era, he had a seizure and doctor confirmed that Ramirez has an epilepsy disease. So for your information, epilepsy is a brain disorder which lead the brain activity become abnormal. Why do I say that this epilepsy disease is related on the reason he turned into a killer? This is because if we go, if we move forward, we move a few years after he teenager, he told his family members that he has been he has feeling a touching from the devil, and all of his bad activity, all of his murder, his burglar, all of that is a work from the devil. He is doing the work that devil asked him to do. The other factor that might change his life is when Richard cousin Mike, who was arrived from Vietnam after he worked as army that served the nation. Sadly, during their first meeting after a few years, Mike exposed Ramirez with a violent and especially image of women getting tortured, raped, and killed by them. 2 years later, this child had to watch with his own eyes his cousin shoot his own wife using a revolver pistol in front of him and being told to keep it as a secret. My action comes with a bad consequences as he was caught and start from that incident. Richard Richard Ramirez, he had an obsession with killing, crime, and death. So this dark experience is likely has triggered Richard feeling to become a serial killer. As we all know, children is easily to get influenced based on what they are watching. If the children watch something good, then they will turn out doing good. But if they watch something bad, they will most likely to follow the bad example. So the next process that I would like to talk is dehumanization of others. So Richard Ramirez has committed tons of crime involving murder, break into house, auto theft, rape the victim before taking their life. He had a fantasy of brutal rape as he is influenced by his cousin Polaroid. So he is influenced by the photo that Mike, his cousin, showed to him. So when he is 15 years old, he started his crime by trying to steal item belonging to the hotel customer. But at that time, he wanted more than that. He attempts to rape one of the woman customer before get caught by her husband. So although it is a big case, the case was dropped as the victim do not want to testify about this case at El Paso. So his first murder is involving a 9 years old girl named Mei Luang in San Francisco. This human being stabbed her to death. Can you imagine a man kill an innocent child? It is a very bad and worst crime that he had done towards people. And 2 months later, he break into a 79 years old woman house as he want to find a valuable item so that he could sell it for his drug. But at that time, he was unable to find anything. So Richard was enraged and killed the old lady. More of his Most of his murder cases is involving raping and kill the victim with the cruel way. Uh, he also do not show any sympathy as he is fulfilling his desire of killing more people. He also most of his cases he liked to rape the victim, and at sometimes he would he would ask the person that he raped to say a quote that I love Satan. As Richard is involved in Satanism activity, he believed that, as I mentioned just now, he believed that devil is asking him to do the job. So there are a certain cases that he raped two old lady and he killed one of them while he draw a pentagram logo at one of the old lady tight using a lipstick. As you all know, a pentagram is a symbol of Satanism. So the third process is the individual of self, anonymity. So Richard Ramirez do not care about his appearance while hunting his victim because he does not wear any mask or trying to hide his face while committing his crime. As all of her since almost all of her victim was killed, so it brings a challenge for the police department to arrest him because he does not left any fingerprint at the crime place. His maniac action does bring a fear to the Los Angeles people as they give him two nicknames because of the way he fulfilled his desire to kill, which are the first one is Night Stalker and the second one is Walk-in Killer. So these nicknames are very suitable for him as for Night Stalker, he most likely to commit a burglar during night, while for Walk-in Killer, describe him as he will just enter the house and kill people randomly. So he is famous for killing the husband and rape the wife brutally before do a decision whether to kill or spare the life. So mostly he will just kill all of the victim, but there are certain cases where he will spare the woman life, but he will beat them up. The fourth process that could be related with the story of this Night Stalker is division of personal responsibility. So as he was caught by the police in 1985 and the process of testify do take some time, in 1992, a journalist named Phillips Carlo requests an interview session with Richard Ramirez regarding his past life. So at that time, this killer admit all of his cruel actions toward the victim, but put all of the blame on his past life that made him into a monster. So he said that I take a quote from what he told to the reporter. Is there such bad things as a bad seed when a baby is born? Is he already a serial killer? already made or is created. So from my own perspective, I do think that Richard Ramirez is influenced by bad example from his family, and this thing create a trauma for him. So in the same interview session, he also stated that a serial killer comes by circumstances like a recipe, poverty, drug, child abuse that contribute. So this makes me realize that he faced all of them while in his childhood era. So based on his interview session, I believe that these things are connected with each other and turn him into one of the famous serial killer. He always put the blame. He do not put the blame on himself, but he put the blame on his past. He think that what he doing is right because he think that the things that he experienced before, he also think that everyone should experience it. So last but not least, a passive tolerance of evil through inaction and or indifference could be also used for the social process. So if we go back before Richard Ramirez start his journey of killing people, his sister is looking for him at San Francisco and found him with a bad condition and do not have place to live and only rely on sleeping on the aside the street. So at that time, as a sister that care enough of her own bloodline, he should report to the police about his own brother, because after they meet with each other, Richard has confessed to her sister that he do burglary crime to support his drug addiction. So at that time, he actually should report that thing to the police, because in my own opinion, although his brother may be sentenced to jail because of his crime, so it also will work as a prevention way from his brother to become worse, because his brother is addicted with drugs, and if they take precautions, it could reduce the chances of her brother become a serial killer. So that's all for the process, and there are two ways on how the deviant behavior can be prevented. So firstly, family needs to pay enough attention on what their family members are doing. So it is because I think that family are likely to spend more time together and know each other better. So by having understanding family, all of these bad things could be prevented, as they are likely known each other problem and talk about it. Prevention is better than cure. This quote is very relatable with the situation, and families should play their role to ensure everything is fine. So the next step on preventing this thing from happen again, I will talk about the victim sides. Everyone should be aware of their surrounding. They need to stay alert on everything, as anything could happen anytime and anywhere. If they are aware of their surrounding, they could avoid this thing from happen to them. So that's all from me. Thank you.